This is our very first math lesson. Today we're going to be doing model and count the numbers 1 and 2. So this is what we call a 5 frame. It kind of looks like a bunch of picture frames put together, but it's a 5 frame because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boxes. So for our first time today, we're going to be using crayons. I picked purple just because purple matches the crayon up there, but you can choose whatever color you'd like. We're going to count how many there are of the object and then put what we call a counter, which is a circle, to match. So how many purple crayons are there? There's only one purple crayon. So we're going to put one counter in the 5 frame so it matches our picture. Once we get going with more higher numbers and we need to start adding them together, that's why we organize it this way, so it's easier for our brain and our eyes to see it. Down here, how many crayons do we have? 1, 2. So we're going to put one counter in the first box and one counter in the second box. We always want to start from the left side, just like when we're reading a book and our words go from this side to that side and we read across. We always start from this side. And we can't leave blanks either, because if I were to not fill this in and then put a counter here, that would make it look like there's 3. So it has to go one after the other. You can just do a circle, or if you want to color them in, you can, to make it look like a counter. After you're done with that page, you're going to open it up to the next one. You guys have yours in a math book. It's probably going to be easiest if you pull it out just like mine and separate it from week to day to day. So here we have a number and a word. The number and the word are going to match. So even if you're not sure what these letters say, this right here will be a clue. So, and over here the picture will be a clue. So we're working with how many notebooks do we have? 1 notebook. And over here is the number 1. I want you to look closely. There's a blue dot and then an arrow to show you how you make your 1. I'm going to start at that blue dot. We always start up top and we always start at the blue dot, okay? So we come down to make our 1. You can use crayons for this. Sometimes for different activities I might ask you to use a pencil just in case we need to go back and erase. But for our tracing, you can use a crayon. I wouldn't suggest using a marker just because sometimes it bleeds through and it makes all the your pictures on the other side messy, and sometimes it makes it look like you did it wrong because it bleeds through onto the 5 frames. So we want to keep it nice and neat, so I suggest a crayon. And then we have to, in our 5 frame, write how many there were. So how many were there? 1. And O-N-E spells 1. So that's the number 1 and the word 1 that matches our 1 notebook. So we're going to put 1 counter. And then now we're counting how many tape dispensers are there. Count with me. 1, 2. It's going to be really helpful as we get into higher numbers that you point and say. It's called, parents, it's called one-to-one correspondence. It's a skill that they need to be able to point and say the number as you go. So 1, 2. So 2 counters, 1, 2. And remember, I can't put them over here. Got to start from this side. And then we're going to trace our number 2. So we start at the blue, come around. And you can also say our number rhymes too. All right, when you're done with this one, we're going to move on to this side. This one, it's going to show us on this side what we're going to draw on the 5 frame. And they separate each question with these colored lines so we don't get it confused. So right here, we have the number 1. So start up top and a line down. One moment. Remember our number poem for these ones, so you want to say it sometimes as we write it. So pull down once, then you're done. That's the way to make a 1. We're going to do our 1 counter. And then this next one we see is the number 2. So for a 2 number poem, remember we make a candy cane and give it a shoe. That's the way to make a 2. Make a candy cane and give it a shoe. That's the way you make a 2. And remember, can I start over here with my counters? No, 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 no. We got to start on this side. So 1. Am I done now? I hope you're saying no. We need to add another 1. 1 more so it matches over here. 1, 2. And then right here we have this number again. Practice with this. Pull down once, then you're done. That's the way to make a 1. You always want to make sure your counter matches the number. And then make a candy cane and give it a shoe. That's the way to make a 2. Then 1, 2. You're welcome to pause these as you go if I'm going a little bit too fast, or if you have to go back and do something, you can always pause and then join back in. On this page here, it says Jen has 2 matching lunch boxes. Max has 1 lunch box. Circle to show Jen's lunch boxes. So this is what we call a word problem. So listen again as I read it. We're looking at this picture here. It says Jen has 2 matching lunch boxes. Max has 1 lunch box. Circle to show Jen's. So it says there's 2 matching, so we need to find the 2 that are the same. This one's blue, this one's red, and that one's red. They both have purple handles, so I'm going to know that these 2 are the same. And Max only has 1 lunch box, and there's only 1 blue one. So we know that Jen has the 2 matching, and we need to circle those. So there's 2 here. 1, 2. For number 8, which is in the green fish, number 8, draw to show what you know about the number 1. So there's different things you can do for that. You can just draw the number 1, pull down once, then you're done. That's the way to make a 1. Or you can show me 1 counter. Or if you remember from on the previous page, or you can look back to the previous page of how to spell 1. O-N-E. Make sure if you do it this way, you color in your counter, so I know that's a counter and not a 0 or an O for your 1. I'm going to color in mine so I make sure I know the difference between those. So for number 9 in the pink shell, draw to show what you know about the number 2. So I know how to make the number 2 now. Make a candy cane, give it a shoe. That's the way to make a 2. And I can draw 2 counters, and I can look back and practice my writing, and T-W-O spells 2. So I could write the word 2, T-W-O. Perfect. This last page here, friends and family that are watching, is yours to practice at home. When you're done with this page, it's the number 17 down here, number 17 and 18. What I'd like you to do is practice this page at home, the one that says practice and homework 1.1 up top. This is going to be the page that you practice at home with them. And then on the back, the lesson check, the spiral review, these 2 questions, this is going to be what you're going to take a picture of and submit it on Seesaw for the lesson. So practice, and then this is the picture that you're going to send me as to show me how they did.